What's going on? My name is Chad with GovX, and today we are talking about this scope right here. This is the VORTEX Viper 6.5 to 20 by 50 PA rifle scope. Now on the website, they're saying this thing is ideal for tactical, for long range, for hunting, for target. Basically, any sort of application you can throw at it, this scope will excel. And this thing is built to extremely high standards. It is fog proof, it is shock proof, and it is waterproof. So when you're out in the elements, you're long range shooting, you're hunting, whatever you're doing, this thing will basically take anything you can throw at it. So it's got a really good, durable peace of mind. As far as the reticle on this guy, they are calling out the dead hold BDC and MOA. So what that's telling me out of the gate is it's a dead hold, meaning I'm probably going to be holding off from the center of my crosshair using those hash marks rather than dialing my turrets. So to me, that's telling me hunting is an ideal application for this. And speaking of adjusting those turrets, they do have a capped elevation and a capped windage knob here. Both of those will adjust 1/4 of an inch at 100 yards. So I was able to take this thing out into the field with a buddy. We zeroed it and just had some fun shooting around with it. So I'm gonna give you my thoughts on it in just a minute, but before we do that, let's dive into some of the manufacturer tech specs so you know exactly what we're looking at here. So as I mentioned, this is a VORTEX Viper scope. The magnification ranges from 6.5 to 20, and it has a 30 mil tube. It's got premium features like a fully multi-coated optic, heavy-duty precision force spring systems, and a glass smooth precision glide erector system. The objective lens diameter is 50 millimeters. Your eye relief is 3.1 inches. It's got a max elevation and max windage adjustment of 65 MOA. Parallax setting is 50 yards to infinity. It is 14.44 inches and weighs 21.6 ounces. It's got an extra low dispersion glass that increases resolution and color fidelity, resulting in crisp, sharp images. And this is a second focal plane reticle, so the scale of the reticle maintains the same ideally sized appearance. This is made from aircraft grade aluminum and it is a single piece tube. There's an adjustment located on the left side of the turret housing that is easily accessible from the shooting position, which provides optimal image focus and parallax removal. So now you have a bit more of an objective view as to what this lens is. And as I mentioned, I got to go out and shoot it. And there were a couple things that stood out to me. So here's a couple pros and cons that I came away with. First of all, I like the size of the scope itself. I like the tube being 30 millimeter because it just means that I can find all sorts of different varieties of scope rings depending on which height I need, depending on which gun I'm mounting this to. There are a ton of different 30 mil rings out there and it just makes my life really easy. I found it very easy and reliable to zero. We got this thing zeroed in like, I don't know, 6 or 7 shots. So once we had this thing mounted, we were just kind of visually bore sighting. So I was lining up the barrel on my target, and then I'd come up and look through my scope and just adjust those turrets until my crosshair was right on the center of the target. Then we took a couple shots, and we were hitting paper, which was great. So then we just dialed over from the average of where we were hitting, and that made it really easy because we were at 100 yards. And like I said, this adjusts at 1/4 of an inch at 100 yards per click on the turrets. So we knew we had to go like 3 inches right or whatever it was. So 3 inches right, you know that you've got 4 clicks per inch. So I knew I had to go 12 clicks to the right. And it just made it very, very easy to keep this thing zeroed. And then speaking of keeping it zeroed, I did notice that it held its zero very well. So I was shooting a 6.5 Creedmoor, so had a little bit more recoil to contend with, not a ton, but enough that it put this thing to the test. It certainly held its zero the entire time we were there. I took it in and out of bags multiple times. We went up to the range 2 different times, and on that second time, it did still hold its zero. So I'm very happy with that. Something that I don't have to super baby. This thing will hold its zero pretty reliably, and yeah, I was pleased. You can tell that the glass was really high quality. I never had any issues, any sort of out of focus things, anything like that. The colors seemed super vibrant. Everything was always very, very crisp. And there was really easy ways to adjust my focus. There's a ring on the left side of the scope that allowed me to always keep my target in focus. And there's a diopter on the eyepiece side of the scope that I could adjust to make sure that my crosshair was always in focus. So I felt very, very confident there. So the 6.5 to 20 magnification range range felt great. First of all, it was a very, very smooth, easy turn of this dial to be able to zoom in and out. And then there's like a big bar that sticks up. It's very easy to see what magnification you're at on the scope, which always gives you peace of mind, but the magnification felt great, especially considering, like I said, this is like a dead hold reticle, meaning I'm probably gonna be holding one of them hash marks. So if I'm zeroed at like 200, I know that my next hash mark is 300, 400, whatever it is. This actually comes with like a reticle guide that will tell you, depending on where you zero this crosshair, each of those hash marks will give you a different measurement. And that's awesome to know, especially considering you have all of that zoom range to be able to go if you're trying to get out to those further distances. Now that does bring me to the one sort of con. I don't know that it's much of a con, to be honest with you, but it is second focal plane. And there's some positives that come with it, like it's always keeping that crosshair at the ideal size, but it does come with one major downside, and that is, generally speaking, whatever magnification you zeroed at, that's what it's going to be calibrated to. So if I zero at 100 yards at 6.5 magnification, and then I zoom in to 15x or something like that, my zero is going to be a little bit off. So that's just one thing to keep in mind. It just makes you have to think about things a little bit more when you get into sort of those different distances. So if I had any con, that's it. But I mean, listen, for the price, like, it's hard to complain about this thing. There are so many good things going for it. It is extremely crisp. It feels extremely high quality. The glass seems really great. It's made extremely durable. So like I said, when you're out in those elements, you don't have to baby this thing. It'll hold its zero. It is waterproof, frog-proof, shock-proof, all that stuff. Your turrets are capped, so you don't have to worry about them knocking against something and, you know, messing with your zero, anything like that. So overall, I'm a big fan of this scope. Every order purchased on GovX is still backed by a full manufacturer's warranty, so buying this through GovX is no different than buying through VORTEX in terms of customer service and warranty and stuff like that. Best of all, GovX is completely free if you meet the criteria. So to find out if you are eligible, head over to govx.com. I think that's all we've got for you guys today, so I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and if you're eligible, head over to that website, grab yourself a VORTEX Viper, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching.